Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me just make sure we are live. Give me a second here. All right, looks good. Looks like we're live on Facebook and YouTube. We'll give it just a minute, let some people join us. All right, looks like we have a pretty good group of people here. Hi, everybody. Feel free to say hello. So I will go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our network welcome. I'm Jamie Chavez, the President and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. And every Wednesday, we bring to you a live broadcast featuring one of our newest members to introduce them and give them a chance to tell you all about their business. If you are new to the broadcast, thank you for being here. We appreciate it and encourage you to like our page so that you will get notifications for when we go live in the future. If you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and explore previous broadcasts there as well. We also offer broadcasts on Mondays, which are dedicated to city updates from city councilors, our mayor pro tem and mayor, and some other city folks as well. These broadcasts offer a chance to hear all about what's going on down at City Hall, so we hope you stay tuned for those as well. And then we also reserve the last Friday of each month for county updates featuring Jeffco County Commissioner Tracy Kraft-Tharp. So stay tuned for those broadcasts for broader county matters. As you watch this broadcast this morning, we encourage you to engage with us, drop any comments or questions, and we'll get to them during the broadcast, or just say hi. We always like to know who's here with us. And now, a warm welcome to Revathi from Culture Cuisine. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for the opportunity and thanks for everyone who joined in this broadcast.
Yeah, we've got Parker Brown. He's our chamber board chair. Welcome, Parker. Thank you for joining us. And Brian Dice, he's on the board as well. Thank you for joining us. And then Denise. Hi, Denise. Thanks for joining. Well, why don't we just have you kick it off and you can tell us all about you and your business and how you got into it. And I love your story. We've known each other for not quite a year, but going on a year. And you're newer to the chamber. So yeah, provide us with an intro.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thanks again for this opportunity. So my name is Revathi Sukumaran. My business name is Culture Cuisine. So I started this business in 2021, 3 years back. So this is my 4th year. The first year I was not pretty sure that I'm able to do a business. So I was just exploring myself that I able to do it and I able to do treat the customer well and I able to like satisfy the customer with my services. Then the next year I got confident. Then I slowly started putting stalls and get visibility outside the community. Then I got connections. Then I joined in several networks. But always the Westminster, it's like always been a close to me. So whenever I'm like interacting with anyone, I always get a positive vibes. I don't know, from the day one I knew about Westminster Chamber, it's always like good good things happen to me. And even the live broadcast, this is a very new experience I never done in my life. But when yeah, so more new opportunities comes through Westminster Chamber. So thank you. Thanks again.
Yeah.
About my family, so myself, my husband, and my 2 daughters. So we all from southern part of India. So I was born and brought up in the place called Chennai, which is in Tamil Nadu state, which is in the southern part of India, very down to the south. So food, there are plenty of foods in India, and in Tamil Nadu, I would say that there are several regions within that small state, and each regions they have a specific set of foods. But I started cooking at the age of 8. So my mom is the greatest inspiration in me cooking. So since then, I started learning many recipes. My mom always insisted. I have one elder sibling, so she always insisted us that we need to learn all the household chores, including the cooking, wherever we are, be able to survive. So that was the first survival skills I learned from my mom. I actually appreciate for her that though I have my qualification as an engineer and I worked as a software engineer for few years. But when we think of after coming here, when we think of we want to start a business, the first thing lighten up is I am very passionate in cooking, and I see that here I don't see much authentic South Indian restaurant. I thought like why don't we start that? From what we are good at it and what we are more connected and what we are interested in. So that's how the business started, and it actually came up from my childhood interest.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you cooked a lot with your mom, and do you cook now with your kids quite a bit?
With my kids, they are pretty much interested in other things, but my I have two daughters. One is in senior high, the other one is in third grade. So my first daughter, she always prefers doing things on her own. If I ask her to do in this way, they don't. They want to do it on their way. But
Yeah.
she actually one time she did a chicken butter masala. Actually, I learned a recipe from her because she is now in 12th grade. She actually made it for in 8th grade by watching YouTubes, and she actually did it in a way how we get it in the restaurant. But I didn't tell her anything
Yeah.
because
You
that's
just
how nowadays the kids want. They want to do it in their own style, and they are doing it well.
yeah. Yeah, I get that.
With my second one, she always likes to cook with me. She always tell me that whenever I do, ma, I do the satay, that kind of thing she does, she will do. But they are interested, but I am not like giving them the time for to like cook with them.
Yeah. Well, I've had the pleasure of eating your food several times, either in catering for different events or one time I had asked you to just make a bunch of food that I could put in my freezer, so I don't have time to cook anymore. And so that was wonderful. And everything that you've ever made for me has been delicious.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit about your business model because you are primarily catering, but then you also offer classes and the cultural experience. So maybe talk more about that.
Yeah,
Oh, and
yes.
we have one more person
So
joining us.
yeah, that's an
Good morning, Grant.
interesting thing because when we think of like deciding the name as a family, I am interested in cooking. So I thought like, why don't we start this one? But my husband is very interested in the cultural part. So he wants to teach the cultural part to the customer and give them the experience. And I am interested in the cuisine part. So that's how we like united the culture and cuisine. And I want to teach the culture through the cuisine way because food is a great way to travel the world. So it's not just the food we are eating on the plate. When we are eating, we just know about the what kind of food is produced from that place and what's the history behind it and what's the tradition. There are many things involved in the food. And yeah, and everybody likes food, and it's a fun way to learn about the culture. So that's why we are not just stick with the catering part. So we want to do the cooking classes and the cultural experience because here many people are showing interest to learn other cultural food. So that's how I added the cooking classes. But initially I didn't think of like people would be interested in cooking. other cultural foods. But after I started the business, after I went into many networking meetings, I came to know that, oh, people are more interested to learn about other cultural foods and more than they are interested in the cooking.
Yeah, I
And
think
the
you're right.
other one is the cultural experience through cuisine. So that one, it's still in I developing. I'm just adding it in the one by one, because I whatever the experiences I had it from my culture, I want to give them. But if my customer wants more than that, I want to include those experiences along with the one services I'm giving.
Yeah. And the classes that you do, tell us about like what size they usually are and what are your requirements in terms of the kitchen space or the entertaining space and stuff like that.
Yeah, yes, yeah, that's a wonderful question. So for the catering, I do the maximum of like I did the maximum of up to 350, but I can do more than that. For the cooking classes and the cultural experiences, I want to do it in the like maximum of 10, not more than that, so that I could give it very effective and efficient a custom experience to my customer. So I want to do it in a very low, like maximum, like starting from 3 to 10. So that's the thing I'm like expecting. But right now I don't have a kitchen space on my own. I have a kitchen rented in Taunton and Denver. So that's easy for me to in the catering part. But the kitchen I rent, they don't offer me the cooking classes or the cultural experience. So these two things I'm planning to do at my customer place. So, for example, if they are planning for a small get-togethers along with their parties, they want to know about other cultural interesting elements. They can like yeah, they can, and they have interest in listening to it. They can have the cooking classes, or otherwise they just have the cultural experience. Because recently with my with Westminster Chamber, with my leads group, one of my friend in that network, she actually asked me for the cultural experience. I went into her house and we had a very good time, because she invited three of her friends, and they all helped me in cutting the vegetables. And when they are like cutting the vegetables, they were asking about the spices and how it came from. And they all, and some of them like are more interested in how do we blend that and what's the consistency. So those kind of thing where even it is interesting for me, because that was the first time I had that kind of an experience. So I think definitely people would appreciate these services.
Yeah, I think so too. We have a comment from Parker, and Parker understands being in the food business. He's one of the owners at Carrabba's Italian Grill, so he gets it. So he says, your model is amazing. I wish you much success. The food business isn't easy, but is very rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's definitely a labor work, but we actually over in the food industry, they always like do it with interest. When the food comes well, when people eat well, that's a reward for us. That's a
Yeah,
great reward for us.
absolutely. Yeah. Um, some of my favorite things that I've had from you, and you'll have to remind me what they're called, but the carrot dessert dish, what's that? And tell us,
Ca-
tell us what that is.
Carrot halwa. Yeah. So it's an in Indian cuisines we have many kind of halwas, and we can make a halwa with lentils, flour, and vegetables. And the food industry is always like evolving, and Indian food is much more evolving. And every day we'll be like inventing new recipes. So initially people know of like two three, but nowadays we like any more kind of alwa recipes came. But one of the like the best one is the carrot alwa, and it's a gluten free one. That's
Yeah.
the best part of it.
Yeah, there aren't very many desserts that are delicious and gluten free.
Yeah. But it may sound like complicated, but when they start learning, it's much more very simple to
Yeah.
do. But the only thing is, it needs lots of patience, because cooking needs lots of patience. That's the only thing needed in most of the recipes to make. Otherwise, very less ingredients and very like extra delicacy.
Yeah. The other thing that I love that you make are those like little dough balls, and maybe they're not dough balls, but and then you serve them with
Gulab
ice
jamun.
cream. Oh my goodness, yeah, those.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the universal one, because most of the recipes, what they get is, it's only the 10 percentage of the Indian food. Most of the people know, but there are several foods in the list. So that's why I want to like give them the chance to my customer to experience what they have never heard of, never heard about that recipe.
Yeah. Well, and I know that you've had a nutritionist kind of look at your menu, and she has said that you're very healthy. Your ingredients are very healthy. So I just wanted to point that out. And I also know that you yourself are a vegetarian, and so you offer a wide variety of foods for people with all different kind of dietary needs or requests. So maybe talk to us a little bit more about how you cater to specific needs for your clients.
Yeah, that's one part I am like always stick with my preparation, because I don't want to give what in the restaurant give. So I want to give it in the home style. So I don't want to use any like the coloring agent or any preservatives. I want to do as much as fresh to my customer.
Yeah.
So that's one specific thing I want to stick with my business. And the other thing is, here many people are like looking for some healthy options in Indian food, and even I prefer, personally I prefer to go for healthier options, not for like the junk food or something else. And in Indian food, there are many healthier options, and the ingredients added in each recipe, it's not added for the, it not only added for the taste, it's added for the reason. It's good for the system, body system. So, for example, if we take a pepper, we had pepper in most of the recipes, it reduces the cholesterol. And the turmeric, so turmeric is an antiseptic, and it has many medicinal and health benefits in it. In most of the Indian foods, I would say that in 70 percentage of the Indian foods, other than the dessert items, we use turmeric in every food. So
Yeah.
we don't need an extra turmeric capsule to use it in our daily basis. So we just adding it in our food itself. And
Yeah.
there are some specific recipes. And one more thing, I am working with one nutritional wellness coach to come up with a set of recipes for the cultural experience. In one of the things I want to add is the healthy, like, or we would say, is the Sattvic meal, because what the monk, the Sattvic, used to have it and make them healthy and calm. So that kind of a food, I want to bring it in my list and give it to my customer, whoever wants that kind of a food. That is also like no boil, no oil. So I'm like still exploring in that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier. The cultural experience. It's right now I have like a two, three, four experiences, but that will like keep on adding based on my customer needs and what I think that it's good for my customer.
Yeah, I think that's a real testament to how much effort you put into providing a really good service for your customers. Because most food, you people eat it and they have to put in that effort to make sure that they know what they're putting into their bodies, where you're putting that effort in for them and making it easier. So definitely appreciate that. What other differences set you apart from other types of caterers?
Yeah, the one thing is I mentioned, I want to give it as a home style. So that when they taste my food, they don't feel as a restaurant type. And I like customize them based on their needs. Because if in some of my customers they ask for like a less oil or less salt, that kind of a thing means I can adjust for them. Or if they ask me for some healthier options, I can like offer them these are the items. And I have I my menu list is pretty different from what other restaurants give, because I am from the place called Tamil Nadu, where the South Indian meal, it's pretty much different from like the other southern part of Indian state. Because
Okay.
here we don't see uh, Tamil Nadu style restaurant. So I thought like that's different. And the way my cooking is, it's an home style and a healthier version. So people would definitely appreciate the
Yeah.
authentic and traditional way. And some of the sweets and snacks, here it is very hard to get traditional Indian sweets and snacks, because in Indian culture, when we do any events or any occasions, we want to give the food as a return gift. So when we thinking of the return gift, food as a return gift, we usually prefer some sweets and snacks. I had this personal experience that when I moved into a new house, we did an housewarming party. So I want to give a return gift. I was looking for some traditional sweet, but here I didn't get other than the store bought food. I don't like putting interest in buying the store bought and giving to my guest. So I was preferring some home cooked, freshly made Indian sweet. So I don't know whether the spark may comes from that too. That was happened 5 years back, and after that I started learning that recipe one by one. So that is one of the additional thing that here I don't see many people get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you walk us through the process of planning a menu for an event? Like somebody calls you and they're having an event, they'd like you to cater, it's a bigger event. What do you do? How do you work with them to pick the perfect menu for them?
So usually I like to have a call over phone or and one on one with them, and discuss about what kind of food they want. Like definitely we have plenty of choices in the appetizer, my entrees and desserts. But I'll ask them like what kind of food so far they tried, and what their interest area, and are they good to try several foods, and are they have any allergic. Yeah, but one thing I always recommend is if you are allergic, better avoid avoid the food, because I am trying to give as much as authentic, so I can't reduce the one otherwise it loses the authenticity of the food. So that's the one thing I advise to my customer. But if they are like okay to try any foods, I can reduce the spice level. That is not a problem. But some ingredients are mandatory, means I can't like skip that one. So that's the only thing. I personally talk with them 3 4 times and get their like idea of like what kind of interest and what they want to know. If they at least for the first time, I'll just go with what they like the most. Then once they are okay with my recipe, okay with my taste, then I can like slowly giving them several options, that since you tried this item, so why don't you try this? I
Yeah.
think you're able to enjoy this.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when I had requested some food for my freezer, you asked some really good questions about what my kids like. What do they normally eat, which is chicken nuggets and mac and cheese because they're young, and spice level. And you really kind of created something that you thought that they would enjoy, and they really did. They liked it a lot, so I appreciated that. Can you share maybe some memorable events or some unique challenges that you've encountered in your business?
uh, yeah, mostly the challenges is it's hard to like make people to taste the Indian food. That's the only challenge I had, because people here they are not aware of the most of the Indian foods. So that's the only challenge. But the interesting part is recently I got an order from an Indian community. They were celebrating an Indian festival called Pongal. It's a similar to it's an harvesting festival in India. So this community, they want to give their community people the festival experience with the food. So they gave me some set of foods. Then I also gave them some suggestions that this will work. And that wasn't very like an very close to my heart, that that was one of my mission of my business. So I want to give them the authentic cultural food. So their event is similar to that what I am doing. So I was very happy about it. And in several events, even in one of the networking event, uh, the whoever tasted my food, they said this is the first time I'm tasting the Indian food, and I really enjoyed it. I got many good comments from very appreciative, motivating comments from all. So far, the networking events I gated.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how do you, every time I've seen your food, it's beautifully presented. How do you ensure like the food quality and presentation kind of stays consistent across your different events?
So the one thing I want to make sure is the freshness, and I want to give it as much as fresh. So I don't want to keep it in the refrigerator for a longer time. If there is a big order, means I may start like 2 days before, just the prep, but not like holding it for usually I prefer like a 1 day
Okay.
for the order.
Yeah.
So the freshness, that's the thing I want to guarantee to my customer.
Yeah. Well, it's always been super fresh. So definitely can tell that. And I'd like to invite anybody watching to ask any questions. We just have a couple more minutes. Do you have anything else that you would like to share with us about your business or your culture?
My culture.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So in Indian culture, family values and food are important part in our culture. So the way I grew up, it tells me more about the family values, because I just in my family with my parents, it's not just my parents and my elder sister. So I just grew up with a big family of my grandparents, my uncles, aunties, and my cousins. They used to come on every summer vacations, or in between. In Indian schools we have vacations in between throughout the year, so they do always come and stay with us. So, and my both my parents are from the or the eldest in their families. They took care of their responsibilities in absence of their father. So maybe that's the reason. I was like more into that culture and more into taking responsibilities or commitments in my life till my lifetime.
Yeah.
Till my life. And food is an important part. So whenever any guest comes into our place, or in any in Tamil culture or in the Indian culture, we make sure that they have been treated well. They have been like ensured they have been fed well. So that was the one thing, and still we are still here. We are like maintaining that culture, and I was very happy about it. Even my husband family is even more strong in doing that.
Yeah. That's amazing. I appreciate that. Well, there's plenty of opportunity coming up that people may need a caterer with graduations and summer parties and all the things. So people know they can find you on the chamber website. You also have a website. I'll post it in chat really quick here. Um, and then anything else you'd like to say before we jump off the broadcast?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you. Thanks again for this opportunity, because I never thought like I would be more comfortable in doing this. But you are one of the reason, because I am seeing you like almost every week, and I was very comfortable with you. And you've been like from the day one, you've been very helpful for me. Even before the chamber, before even being a member in the Chamber of Commerce, you gave me an opportunity in the Taste of Westy. That was like, still I remember, and that gave me a lots of confidence to like face the customer and how they are appreciating the Indian food. And whoever tasted that food, they said good things about that. And I'm looking forward to uh, be in the next the coming year in the Taste of Festi.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you there again. So, well, I appreciate having you on the broadcast today. Thank you so much. And I've posted your website so people know how to get a hold of you. And everybody, thanks for joining us and have a good rest of your week.
Yeah, thanks again for everyone joining in this broadcast.
Yeah, have a good one, everybody. Bye.